Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We're starting a new series on this awesome Stern Flight 2000 pinball machine. We picked this up a couple years ago, either at an auction or I'm not sure where we got it, but we've had it for a couple years, and it sat around for a while where we were looking for parts for it. I'll talk about that here in a minute. But we've finally gotten to the point where we're going to work on it. This thing is in pretty rough shape. So if you watch this whole series, you're going to see us work through all of the boards. You're going to see us repaint a lot of the playfield. And then we should end up with a pretty decent game. So if you've got an old Stern or an old Bally, this will probably be helpful to you to fix your own. So let's check it out. So I'm going to do a video here where we show what kind of shape it was in when we got it. Now we have repainted the legs so that we can get it up on its legs. The cabinet we have not painted yet, haven't done anything with it. We'll probably just paint this frame. We probably won't touch up the other stuff. I really like this game. I've had it before. It's one of my favorites for sure. So it has a sticker on the front that says Charlotte and Mecklenburg, City of Charlotte and Mecklenburg County. 84 to 85 privilege license paid on this machine and expired June of 1985. So this thing was being operated somewhere in Charlotte, or in the county at least, in 1985. Pretty cool. This thing's right in the sweet spot after Speech had came out, and it also has multi-ball, and it also was designed by Henry Williams, from Williams, the legendary pinball designer. Didn't he design like 100 tables? Something like that. So the Backglass in pretty decent shape. It's got a little bit of scraping right there. We'll see how that lights up whenever we light it up. And then there's some crazing, which is what I call, I may have that wrong, but it's these little fine cracks in the paint. They're really just areas where it's lifted off of the Backglass. See that? All of that. It's like spider webs. On certain games, it doesn't really even look that bad, but on this one, it probably will look bad. So you have that. So who knows what we'll do with that. Now, every time we do one of these videos, we get the same comment. It's like this. They make a new Backglass. Well, what fun is that? I got the Backglass. I just need to fix it. Come on, people. Come on, people. Come on now. Come on, people. Come on now. Come on now, people. I know they make the back. Come on, people. We're talking about fixing it, people. It's repair. We're not some damn part swapper. Come on now. I had a operator friend a while back, and he was talking trash about another operator, and he was saying that the guy couldn't fix nothing. He said, "Yeah, I went over to his place one time. He had 3 of the same machine sitting there. You know what? He was taking parts out of this one to fix this one. He wasn't fixing it. He was taking the parts out of this one to fix that one." And then he said this. I mean, he's a damn part swapper. Don't be a part swapper, people. Don't do that. Come on, people. Come on now. Okay, so the Backglass is a little rough. But the Backglass being rough pales in comparison to the playfield being rough. One of the reasons we bought this is because it's a challenge. So let me show you why it's a challenge. Clong, clong, clong. That's right. The whole middle of the playfield's worn away. And we're going to fix it. Look at that. Holy crap. It also has an Evel Knievel spinner on it. We're going to fix it, people. Don't worry about it. All right, so let me pull the glass out of it, and then let's look inside it, underneath the playfield, see how bad it looks down there, see if anything's missing. Oh, I got to talk about the lockdown bar. There is something missing, the lockdown bar. Now here's the problem. Okay, this is a Stern pinball machine. A little bit more rare. They're not rare, but they're a little bit more rare than, say, a Bally pinball machine. So both of these machines, that's a Star Trek there, $6 Million Man there. They use the same coin door, the same lockdown bar, the same side rails, right? So you can find all the parts for that, okay? A Stern, though, they're a little bit different. So if you need the lockdown bar for a Stern, kind of needs to come off of a Stern, and there's just not as many of them, okay? And then the coin door, it kind of needs to come off a Stern. All right, so we bought this thing, and it's missing the lockdown bar. But what we thought at the time, at least, more importantly, was it's missing the lock bar receiver. What the playfield hangs on, and what the lock bar slides down into. So what in the world are we going to do about that? So I looked around and I looked around, and wouldn't you know it, I found a gentleman selling a Stern Flight 2000 lockdown bar. Goes right back on the game. Now, see how it's got a cut in the middle? It's just how they made it. And I know what you're saying, oh, they make them new. No, the hell they don't. They don't make these new. You can't get them new. So I was fortunate to find that. And there's only a couple Stern wide body games anyways. I don't even... What's the other one? Is there another one? I think there is. Yeah, I don't even remember what the other one is. There might be 2 or 3, but there's not many. But I was fortunate to find that. That was the tough part. So then I started thinking, you know what? I see those for sale from time to time because people take them off machines. Like, that's easy to take off and then put it on eBay and sell it. But the actual receiver that bolts to the cabinet, boy, that's going to be hard to find because I need one for a wide body machine. A wide body Stern. How in the world am I going to find that? I'm going to have to find somebody that's parting out a Flight 2000 and that didn't throw the cabinet away or whatever with that receiver still on there. So I looked and I looked and I looked and I looked, and I couldn't find one to save my life. Nobody had one. I put up wanted to buy things. Nobody had one. And so this went on for like a year or something. And then I was, one day I was looking at it. I was like, man, I can't fix that game until we find that receiver. And I started looking at this lockdown bar. What do you notice about the lockdown bar? This thing doesn't go all the way to the end. All right? It's normal width. So then I started thinking, well, wait a minute. Maybe they didn't put the wide one, maybe they didn't make one for a wide body, it's just the normal one, because it sure looks like it's the normal size one, doesn't it? So I found a picture of a Flight 2000 where somebody was working in it, and sure enough, the lockdown, the receiver only comes over to here or so. It doesn't go all the way to the edge because there's nothing that attaches it to the side. It's just bolted on the front. See this? How this trim piece is missing from the door? That's the bolts that hold the lockdown bar on. The receiver in, right? So then I say, okay, well that makes it easier because now I don't have to find one off a wide body like I had to for the lockdown bar. I just need a regular one off of a Stern. And that's where the history of Stern comes into it. So way back in the olden days, there was a company called Chicago Coin Pinball. Chicago Coin Pinball went out of business. Or it was actually, I think it was the whole business. They made arcade games too. Chicago Coin went out of business, and the Stern family bought Chicago Coin and renamed it Stern. in Chicago, Illinois, USA, right? Stern Electronics Inc. Okay, and they made arcade games too. So like they made Berserk and a couple games, right? So the guy that bought it, I hope I don't mess this up. I'm pretty sure his name was Sam Stern. If that's not his name, I apologize. The Stern family, his son's Gary Stern, and the two of them started this company, Stern Pinball, by buying out Chicago Coin and using their stuff. So we actually even have one of their games. It's called Rampage. It's an electromechanical that was a Chicago Coin, and they turned it into the Stern version or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, they started making EM games, and then this was their solid state. This wasn't the first one, but this is one of their solid states. So anyway, Sam Stern was the president of Williams Pinball for many, many years and partial owner. So Gary Stern's father owned Williams Pinball for many, many years. Okay. If you look here, Stern Electronics Inc. designed by Harry Williams. So that guy was like this legendary pinball designer that worked for Williams, who had done like 100 different tables, I believe. We'll have to look all that up, but I'm pretty sure. And I believe he was a little older, and they talked him into designing this table. And so this machine is pretty sweet when it comes to Sterns, right? So anyway, Stern was around for a while, and then they went out of business. Well, when they went, years later, Data East wanted to get into the pinball business. So Data East opened up a pinball company, and they used some of Stern's way of doing things. So you know what they copied? Would you believe they copied the lockdown bar receiver? So the Data East games, the lock bar receiver is the exact same as the Stern ones, which is the exact same as the wide body Flight 2000 one, right? But wait, there's more. Data East gets bought out by Sega. Okay. Oh, by the way, Data East hired Gary Stern to be the president of the Data East pinball side of things. Data East gets bought out by Sega and turns it into Sega Pinball. Gary Stern continues as the president of the pinball division. Guess what? The Sega pinball machines use the same exact lock bar receiver. But wait, there's more. Sega went out of business, like a bunch of pinball companies did. Late 90s, everybody goes out of business. Williams stops making pinball machines, etc., etc., etc. And so Gary Stern, after Sega decides to close the business, buys all of the IP and starts the new Stern pinball machine. Same guy, been doing it since 1977 or 78, something like it, 76 or 77 probably. And when he makes the new Stern pinball machines, guess what he copies? The freaking lock bar receiver. So what I'm saying is, they still make them brand new. It's the same damn one. After all that time, I was looking for it. All I had to do was just order a new one. And they're like 20 bucks. They're real cheap. Look. See how the playfield hangers line right up? Okay. So we got to mount this in the cabinet. Look. You can buy a brand new Flight 2000 lock bar receiver because it's the same one they use on the Data East, on the Stern, the classic Stern, the Data East, the Sega, and the modern Stern up until a certain point. At some point, maybe 7-8 years ago, they switched the design and made it simpler. But you can still get these. So very, very cool. So I finally found the part that I needed. Now, was that story worth my 15 minutes that I took to tell it? I thought it was. I thought that was a wonderful story. I tried to drag it out like it took me 1.5 years to find it, you know? Pretty cool. Okay, so let's take the glass off. Let's look underneath it and see what's underneath the playfield. Reunited. And it feels so good. Reunited. Because it's understood. There's one perfect thing, and sugar, this one is it. We both are so excited because we're reunited. Hey, hey. What have they done to my baby? What are they doing? Look at this. Look, it's missing the pawl and the plunger and the coil stop. Look, there's parts falling out. What are they doing? And look, on that side, it's got the pawl, but it's missing the coil stop. Ugh, somebody started trying to part it out or something. They took the lockdown bar off and then took the lockdown bar receiver off. I got there just in the nick of time. So other than that, though, it looks pretty cool. I don't see anything major missing. Minor stuff we can deal with, you know. So here is Stern's regular drop targets. And then here is Stern's amazing. Oh, I mean, I got it all wrong. This one doesn't have it. I was going to say they're memory drop targets, but they don't have them on this one. Oh yeah, they do too. Yep, I was right. These are their memory drop targets. So what does that mean? It means that they have a little coil on the target where they can drop the target itself. Very, very cool. I wonder if they do that anymore. I think, wasn't that one of the things Jersey Jack Pinball brought back? He brought back the memory targets. So they call them memory targets because you knock down this one and that one, and then it resets them for player 2. And then it goes back to player 1, and it knocks those 2 back down how you had it, or whatever. Pretty cool. And then this is their ball walker unit that lets it do multi-ball. We'll get into that whenever we're playing it and working with it. Look what they've done down here. What have they stolen? I don't even remember what they stole. Look, there's a connector there that plugged into something and is gone now. Boy, that sure looks like a transformer. Did they steal the freaking power board out of it, or a transformer or something? I can't remember what would plug in at the bottom. Look, there's something missing that was screwed in there. I haven't worked on one of these in like 6 or 7 years. Stuff like this, whenever you can't figure it out, there's, you know, all kinds of resources online. If you go to the Internet Pinball Database, it shows pictures of everything. That kind of looks like the connector that's usually on the power supply, which means my whole power supply may be missing. That will suck, because that's expensive. We'll figure it out. So this is one of the other connectors for the power supply. Maybe. Well, I know it is, but I don't know if it goes in the bottom or the top. And then this is the, well, that might be for the soundboard or something. Looks like this goes up on the top. All right. I believe we may be missing a power supply assembly, but hopefully it's in the back, and I'm wrong. There's lots of trash down in there. I think we're going to go ahead and clean it out. Let me get all that stuff out, and I'll go ahead and vacuum it. I can't leave it like that. We got to start working on it. I'll pull all that out so we can see what all's in there, and then I'll vacuum it up before I put this back down. Vacuumed everything out. Looks much better already. But my transformer's missing. Ugh. Okay, so this is stuff I found in it. A couple coil sleeves, trash. The reason that these are significant is because they're metal. And it's pretty common to replace them with nylon ones. Old flipper coil. You can tell a flipper coil because it has 3 lugs. Looks like it might be all right. Another flipper coil, but it says AQ. I don't know if that's 25 475, 34 4500, 25 500, 25 475, 34 4500, 34 4500. Yep, very similar. So these are a couple flipper coils. Who knows if they're supposed to go in here? Whenever you see something like that, you're in trouble, though. So it's got this piece of paper on it. So why is that missing? It's because it's been abused, it's been abrased, right? So if it scratched a couple of those wires together, the coil's shorted. So might not be any good. 3/4 wrappers with no quarters in them. A whole bunch of little screws and stuff that must have fell out of somewhere. This thing, this is for something. I can't ever remember what it's for though. A spinner bracket, and then a spinner with a rooster on it. I've seen this one before, but I can't remember what it was on. Was that on Phoenix? I don't remember. Coin machine lubricant. A non-gumming lubricant for bearings, etc., etc., for use in all temperatures. Remove all Vaseline or other gumming material before using. Bally Manufacturing Corporation. Still located at 2640 Belmont Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60618, USA. Look at that. Empty box of bulbs. And then manuals and stuff. These are for the displays. They're little shields that go on top of the display so you don't electroshock yourself. So these are little plates to put in the front door. Right now it says quarters, dollar coin, and quarters. So you could change one of them out if you wanted to make it 50 cents. And these are some of the original instruction cards. Okay. There's a bunch more in here too. Original manual. And in the manual, it shows you that your rectifier board is right there and your transformer assembly is right there in the bottom of the cabinet. They stole $200 from me, people. I don't even know who did it. Someone at some point in time has stole $200 from me. Maybe even $3. Okay, so the transformer is supposed to be in the bottom. It is not, but that's okay. We'll fix it. I had a boss tell me one time about a truck. I had a truck, the engine blew up in it. It was a company truck. It wasn't that old, it was a few years old. Engine blew up. And so I was telling him, he's like ultra rich, good with money, right? And so I'm telling him, he's saying, well, we'll just go have the engine rebuilt. And I was like, man, that sucks. We got to spend that much money to rebuild the engine. And so he explained the concept to me that the truck with the blown engine isn't worth anything, but if you rebuild the engine, now the whole rest of the truck has value. So you could sell it for parts, but it would be better to fix the truck even if you're going to sell it, right? Make more money on it. Which, that was his way of looking at it. So that's how I'm looking at this pinball machine. Yeah, I could say, oh, well, they've already parted it out. I'm not going to pay $200-300 for that transformer. But then I can't fix the machine. I won't ever be able to sell the machine as up and running and working and doing its thing. So you got to pretty much fix it, unless it's just ridiculous. I mean, $200-300 is pretty ridiculous, but unless it's just nuts, right? There's also a thing too where you can fix something. Like, so we're going to spend a little bit of money getting the transformer back in it, and we might not buy a new backglass for it. Well, the next guy down the line, maybe he'll spend a little money and buy a new backglass for it. And, you know, as time goes on, maybe we can cumulatively, customer after customer, owner after owner, get it worth more money. Okay, so that's what's in the bottom of it. Let's put the playfield back down, and then I'll take the backglass out, and let's see if anything's in the back box. So here's our backglass. You can see that it has crazing all over it. You can't really, it's not really cracks because the glass isn't cracked. If I say it's got cracks all in it, people are going to think that I'm saying the glass is cracked. No, it's like the paint has cracked. It lifted away from the playfield, from the glass. And the reason that it does that is because it wasn't stored very well. So over time, so let's say you put it in a storage building and it gets cold and hot, the glass expands and the paint doesn't expand at the same speed. So it's got to give somewhere, and so all these little cracks pop up where the paint basically cracks. So the paint doesn't want to expand, and the glass expands a little bit, and it breaks it loose, has to give up eventually. A lot of people think it's because of the light bulbs, the incandescents burn it. I don't think that's true. I've talked about that in other videos. I've had some that are in perfect shape. It's just because they've been around a while. They've been well taken care of. Sometimes certain colors are worse. So like for instance, the Flight 2000. So it also has these little spots, right? But this part doesn't. It's because that pink paint that they used for Flight 2000, something in it just didn't hold up. Okay, so here is the rest of it. We are missing 3 displays. We got 2 of them though. That's a good start. By this time, Stern had moved on to the 7-digit displays. So there is one 6-digit for the ball and play and the match and the credit display, but the other ones should all be 7-digit. Let's see if anything's in here. All right, so on the older games, the transformer sits there, but we've figured out that it's supposed to be in the bottom. And then the solenoid driver board should be here. It's missing, but that's not too big of a deal. And then here's the MPU board with the battery still mounted. That's fun. So we'll see about that. This is the lamp board. This is Stern's, I think that's the sound board and that's the speech board, or vice versa. But I'm pretty sure that's the sound board and that's the speech board. Now, if you're talking prices, the transformer's probably $200 or $300. The solenoid driver board, you can buy a new one for about $100, but I've got used ones, so we'll rebuild one and put an original style back in there. The MPU, you can buy a new one for $200, but that one looks completely rebuildable to me. There were 2 eras of Stern MPUs. There was the I think it's called the MPU 100 and the MPU 200, I think. And this one was the later one, which I think I don't know if it needed it for the speech or if it just needed it because there was more memory needed for the speech. But it's just kind of the newer version of the MPU. And Bally didn't do, they just did they did a 17 and a 35, so maybe that's, I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud here. Bally had 2 versions too, and the only difference really was that the 17 had less room for PROM memory. The 35 had more room for PROM memory. It just could use bigger chips, basically. There was a few other little minor things, but it basically worked the same. You can make a 17 into a 35 because it's just different jumpers and things like that. Okay, so the MPU 100, you could not turn into an MPU 200 over on the Stern side. By the way, if I didn't say already, Stern completely ripped off Bally's boards. They're exact copies. Like this lamp driver board is the exact same as the Bally board. And I don't know the details, but I believe they had some kind of agreement, but they didn't ask for permission or something like that. Like they did it and then told Bally they'd pay him a royalty or something to that effect. And I think basically what they were trying to do was if all of the lamp boards worked like this, then Bally and Stern, with Stern paying Bally for the design. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Someone updated me on this, but we'll keep on with the story. Bally and Stern, if they could get the operators to know how to fix these, maybe they wouldn't buy Williams. They would just buy Bally and Stern because they already knew how to work it. Because since two companies were using the same boards, and the other Williams would be the odd man out. Someone told me, though, and I have no reason not to believe this, that somehow Stern bought the company that designed the freaking boards that Bally used, and then Bally had no way to stop the company from also designing the exact same board for Stern to use. That sounds like that's probably what happened. So that may be the actual story. So yeah, everything looks cool here though. So I'm going to vacuum this out. And then perhaps I will look in my parts stash and see if I have a transformer. Boy, wouldn't that be cool? Save me $200 or $300. We can at least see if I've got one. So let me vacuum this out and then I'll go see what I got. Okay, folks, I looked. I don't have one extra, but I do have one in I've got an extra head for a machine that has a transformer in it. So I can take it out of that, but I was kind of wanting to save the whole head. Not a Flight 2000. I've got a Lost World that I've got just the body for. And then I've got a Stern Stingray that I've got just the head for. So I was going to repaint the head and blah, 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 blah. But I can take the power supply out of the Stern Stingray head and look for another one. Since the Bally and the Stern ones are the same, you can use it for either. So I don't know. I guess we'll do that. In the meanwhile, I'll look for one too. Maybe I can find one to order or something. But that's going to be our first thing that we need to do. I would work on the playfield first because I kind of want to get started painting it. But we need to do the power supply first so that I can get the light bulbs and stuff on the playfield. So we'll have to do that. So I'll see if I can order one or if we have to pull that one out of that other one, but that's what we'll be doing on the next video. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think so far. Do you think we're going to be able to save this thing? It's missing the power transformer, minor parts on the flippers, and the playfield's destroyed. Also, the Backglass ain't that great. You think we're going to be able to save it? What do you think? Well, if you've watched our channel, you know we're going to save it for multiple reasons. It's going to happen, people. And you're along for the ride. So leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. We appreciate everybody that's been using our Amazon links, too. If you don't know about that, there's links down below to Amazon. If you're going to buy anything on Amazon, if you use our link to buy it, even if it's not something that we're trying to sell you or whatever, it gives us a tip. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. That's been doing really well lately, by the way. And also, make sure to check out my brother Donnie. If you don't know about that, my brother Donnie is literally my brother, and he has a channel here on YouTube. If you like watching us work on these old pinball machines, you would probably enjoy watching us work on old buildings. We bought a couple old buildings in a small town near here, and we are fixing them up to help revitalize the downtown area. So we'll see you over on that channel. So next time, we got to cobble together a power supply and get the lights working on this thing. It would be cool to put a power supply in and the solenoid board and see if the thing even tries to boot. Because that battery has not leaked. Or if it has, it's a little bit. I think it has a little bit, but it's not that bad. So it may still be able to work as is. I mean, it won't, but thin chance, but maybe. Maybe we'll get lucky. It'll be interesting to see what it does. So that'll be next time. We will see you on the next video. And by the way, I don't upload videos that I haven't become fairly confident that we're going to be able to finish. So I don't like uploading like this video and then 3 years goes by and everybody's waiting on the next video. If you're seeing this, it's because I've got other videos already filmed and they're on the way. So I will see you soon, tomorrow or the next day probably. See you then.